I went with this look right here, and I don't mind. And Suri Yawang, he doesn't mind. Because you see, he and I, we come from the same place. We come from an education system that was absolutely perfect in every way. It was an education system that was designed specifically, scientifically, to prepare a workforce who could work in straight rows, performing repetitive tasks under close supervision. Right? And that was perfect for me and my generation. I grew up in a little 3-stoplight mill town in western North Carolina, where a full 3/4 of the kids that I went to school with left school and went right into one of those mills where they had every reason to expect to spend the next 35 years working in straight rows, performing repetitive tasks under close supervision, having kids, putting their kids through school, retiring after 35 years with a pension, and grandkids to play with and probably have a pretty good life. Of course, that's not the future that happened, is it? It wasn't my father's future that happened. It wasn't even my future that happened. Something else happened. Those mills are all gone. There were 16 mills in that town when I graduated from high school. They're all gone. Something else happened. And what I'd like to do is to go through a little activity to explore this future that has actually happened. And what I want to do is to take you through a tour of a typical information age workplace. There's one here called The Map Room. Well, I can click that blog out, and I go read some of the articles. And again, as a professional educator, I'm making judgments on whether what this person has to say is going to help me do my job. Depending on what I'm going to be doing with this information, I could dig really deeply. I can get the name or the email address of the blogger here, go to Google and search for them and see what else they're saying, what other people are saying about them. I might find out that this person is works as a geologist for the province, or that he's a professor of cartography at the local university. Okay? Or I may find out that he's a hobbyist and he's just really, really passionate about maps, and that may be enough, depending on what how much I need to depend on this, depending on what I'm doing with it. Let's say I decide this guy has things to say that's going to help me do my job. Right here is RSS subscribe, right there. I could right-click on that, copy the link into the clipboard, or often you can just simply grab the link like I was doing before, grab the link, drag it up, and drop it into this box, and that does the same thing. It's like copying and pasting. So I go click Add the Feed. It's now validating the feed. It decides that it's a valid feed. There's the box. I grab it, drag it down into my page, and there it is. The latest articles written in the Map Room. There was another one. I've got a little bit extra time. I'm going to go back and look at strange maps. Click that one out, and what I've discovered is someone who writes about strange maps. And I decide immediately that this is exactly what I'm looking for, because I teach middle school and I've done it for a long time, and I realize from experience that the degree to which my students pay attention to me depends directly on the strangeness of what I'm talking about. So this is exactly what I need. Right up there is his RSS link. Go up here, add a feed, grab the link, drag it up here and drop it, add the feed. There's the box appearing right about there. It found 2 of them. When it finds 2 of them, you can I usually just grab the first one, drag it down there and drop it and see what comes up. If this is what I'm looking for, if this is going to help me do my job, then I stick with this. Isn't that cool? Now, the reason I show you that and tell you about this group is so I can say I didn't know about them yesterday. This is something I've learned about in the last 24 hours. And I always try to begin my presentations with something that I've learned in the last 24 hours. Because the most important thing I want y'all to know about me is that I'm a learner. And I strive to be a master learner. Whether I'm writing, programming, planning a presentation, no matter what I'm doing these days, I never sit down and do it without having to learn something new, without having to teach myself something new. And I think this is important because in education, it is an incredibly exciting time to be in education, because we find ourselves doing our business, our job, in an exciting time, a time of rapid change. but it's forcing us to rethink education. It's forcing us to rethink what it is to be educated in a time of rapid change, what the classroom of the 21st century looks like. What is the definition of the 21st century teacher? I don't think we could do any better than to say that the 21st century teacher must be a master learner. Must be able to walk into the classroom any day and share something that they've learned in the last 24 hours. Must be willing to say, must be eager to say, I don't know the answer to that question, but I will teach myself the answer to that question before tomorrow. Or I don't know the answer to that question. How do you think we might go about finding the answer to that question? If part of our job is to help our children become lifelong learners, maybe one of the best ways to do that is for us to practice lifelong learning in front of our students as part of the skill of being a teacher, as part of the definition of being a teacher.